Did you know that the number one reason why couples seek counseling is because they have a breakdown in their communication? According to Elizabeth Boudredt, communication is the lifeline of any relationship. Communication to a relationship is what oxygen is to life. Hi everyone, I'm Sunita Prasad. I'm a family life educator and I'm here to speak on marriage and family. In this video, I am speaking on the don'ts and do's of communicating with your spouse. Healthy communication is extremely essential, especially in a marital relationship. According to Greg Smalley, good communication is the lifeblood of a successful marriage. When spouses stop talking, their marriages slowly begin to die. Marriages thrive or fall apart depending on how well couples learn to communicate with each other. That is why marriage experts call communication a lifeline for marriage. At the heart of most family issues and problems lies the fact of miscommunication or inadequate communication. Through this video, I would like to speak about what you should avoid as well as what you should do to develop healthy communication in your marriage. Can I take a minute at this time and request you to subscribe to the channel? This will encourage us to make more biblical-based content on marriage and family. Do share this with your friends and comment if you would like me to speak on certain topics on marriage and family. To make it easy for us today, I would like to speak about 5 don'ts and do's of communication with your spouse. So let's look at the don'ts and do's of couple communication. The first don't make assumptions about your spouse. It's common for couples to make assumptions about each other. They feel they know their spouse so well that they can make assumptions and they can know and feel what the spouse is thinking. I would like to point out 2 major assumptions couples make that can derail communication quickly. The first one, if my spouse loves me, he or she should know what I need. The mistaken belief is that couples in love are always tuned in each other. The reality is that your spouse is not going to be tuned into you 24/7. The second assumption, I know what my spouse is thinking without checking it out first. Acting on what you assume your partner's thinking is not a good strategy and often fuels conflict. Your spouse cannot read your mind. They are not superhumans or supernatural beings. So don't assume. A kind advice to women here. Please don't speak in a language of clues, hints and codes. Most men cannot understand the code language. Dr. David Clark points out saying nothing and expecting the spouse to know will not work. Or getting upset and thinking he ought to know the reason why he or she is upset also won't work. This will only put more pressure on the spouse and they will keep wondering, what did I do now? Or what did I say? So don't assume things in your marriage. And now let's look at the do, the first do. Do tell your spouse clearly, directly and exactly what you need and when you want it done. For example, if you have a back pain and you want your spouse to massage your back, don't tell, I have a back pain, I wish someone can help me or someone can massage me. Instead, just say, please massage my back, I have a back pain. And make sure you have your spouse's full attention. A man may find it difficult to do 2 things at once. So don't be vague, don't hint, don't be subtle. Use plain language, be brief, just be specific. Certain things if you feel your spouse tends to forget, when you're talking verbally, then write it in a card, note or send a message making it clear and specific. So this is the first do. Now let's look at the second don't. Don't use abusive, vulgar, demeaning words to your spouse and beware of using the D word, divorce. Sometimes when we are in an argument, we tend to use words that are abusive, vulgar, demeaning, derogatory, which we may or may not mean. But once the word is out of your mouth, you cannot take it back. We end up hurting our spouses, which can cause lifelong damage. The word of God says in Luke 6:45, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So in order to deal with the things that proceed from the mouth, we need to deal with the matters of the heart. Let me tell you the spiritual aspect to this. When we speak, the words we release are accompanied with sound and breath. The word breath in the Bible has a connotation to the spirit. Just as Jesus mentioned in John 6:63, the words I speak to you, they are spirit and life. Now, whenever we utter words, they are imparted by the spirit world to either release life or death. The wise man Solomon also underlines this truth from Proverbs 18:20, saying that the tongue has the power of life and death. Whenever we speak words of faith from the scriptures, it is empowered by the Spirit of God to be an agent of life. But the converse is also true. When we use foul, derogatory, and demeaning language, the words spoken are empowered by the realm of evil to bring in curse and destruction in our relationship. Curse here is a cycle of defeat. What I mean to say here is that this kind of language is bound to keep the relationship in bondage, giving room to constant hatred, quarrel, and slander. The most dangerous word to avoid in communication is the word divorce. The moment you start uttering the word divorce, it is exactly opposite to the covenant in marriage that God established, when He said, "What God has joined together, let no man separate." Divorce word comes as an arrow to attack the fabric of your marriage. So be careful what words we utter, because we are giving legal grounds to the spirit world to take advantage of the situation and cause an oppression in your relationship. It is sad that many couples have used this as an arsenal to combat marital crisis. Now going to the second do. Do speak with respect and appreciate more often. When we use words of respect and honor, it welcomes a conversation, and what is welcomed will remain. Disrespect and dishonor kills a conversation quickly. When you give respect and appreciate, you're fueling a healthy conversation. When you respect, you're adding value to the person. Words of endearment like honey, sweetheart, or whatever words you use, they add value and respect to the person. Use words of appreciation that will build up your spouse. Your words either build up or tear people down. Solomon says in Proverbs 12:18, the words of the reckless pierce like swords, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. So speak words of respect and healing. The third point is don't speak in extremes. You always, you never. Polarized conversation like you always, you never tends to create a negative mindset on a spouse. It puts seeds of discord. It creates opinions and puts off your spouse. When you speak like that, you're shutting the door or putting a lid on the other person, saying you cannot rise above this. The word of God says in Proverbs 18:21, the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. Rather than trying to say you're always like this, you can rephrase the sentence telling you tend to do like this, or why don't you do it like this? You can use other kind of statements to communicate what you're trying to say. Now the third do is what we are going to look at. Do guard your tone and body language. Most of the times, calm and meaningful speech is that which is most helpful. When you raise your voice, you actually distract from the intended purpose of the conversation, and this will also create offense by itself. The spouse is more affected by the raised voice rather than resolving the issue to be raised. When you do that, the focus shifts from your conversation to your tone and body language, and that will take precedence than what you're trying to converse. Example, I'm sorry. The tone of it really matters. If you're saying I'm sorry, it really doesn't mean anything. Rather than that, when you say I'm really sorry, it means something. So body language matters a lot. Staring, rolling your eyes, or sarcastic look communicate more than what you actually converse through your words. So guard your tone and your language. Speak in a manner you would have preferred to have used toward you. Remain respectful and calm and trust God to work through purposefully godly speech in your marriage.